Okay, everyone, thanks for joining us. This is Phil Rosengren with BetterPitching.com, and really excited to have with us tonight a former Navy SEAL and the founder of Seal Grinder PT, Brad Mcleod. Brad, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Phil. It's a big honor.
Absolutely. No, it's great to have you here, Brad. And then before we get rolling, just kind of want to give guys a little bit of background, kind of let them know, how we got connected, and sort of explain how we hooked up for tonight's call. Because for guys who follow my website, they know the most recent article that I wrote there was all about the mental game of pitching, and really talking a lot about specific mental training exercises that guys can do, like visualization exercises, meditation, focused breathing. And one of the things I came across there was the fact that the Navy SEALs are now using meditation as part of their training program. And it was funny because actually right when I got done with that article, I came across this email announcement about a training program called Navy SEAL Training for Baseball. And, so I was curious, having just gotten through that article, and I look into it, and it turns out it is this Navy SEAL style training workout video that was put together by a former Navy SEAL, and that's Brad Mcleod, the guy we're talking to right now. So, I think to myself, when you're talking about mental toughness and what it takes to be strong mentally, who knows more about that than a Navy SEAL? Kind of the training program those guys go through, and the mental discipline that takes is kind of legendary. So I tracked down Brad and reached out to him, and he's been good enough to join us tonight and share with us some of his lessons on mental toughness and some things that you guys can do to get strong mentally. So Brad, again, sorry for that kind of a long rambling introduction there, but it's really an honor having you here with us tonight.
Yeah, no, this is great. Yeah, I love an opportunity like this to help out.
You got it, man. Again, thanks so much. So we can go ahead and kind of kick things off, get rolling here. So I just want to ask you some questions. Kind of was thinking maybe first start off by telling us a little bit about what it was like to be a Navy SEAL. Sort of first, maybe what made you want to be a Navy SEAL in the first place, and then what was that training like? Because I'm sure it's very grueling. And what kind of obstacles did you have to overcome to get through that?
Yeah, no, great question. Being a teenager in North, I just, kind of got into the same things that other young boys did. I was partying. I just really wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life. And I know one thing I did like was I like to go to the gym, and I like to work out. And, a friend of mine had said, at some point, we were trading, books and different things. He goes, man, you got to read this one book. It was actually the name of the book, Everything We Had by Al Santoli. And there was a chapter in there called The Greenface Frogman. And so, I read that book, that chapter. It was about 17 pages. And I was completely spellbound. When I read that and read the story, the mission of those guys, the SEALs that were there in Vietnam, I think I read it like 10 times after that. And so I was really psyched, and I wanted to do something with my life. I figured that there's more to it than just going out and partying and really having no direction. So at 19, I joined the Navy, and at that time, it's a little different than it is right now. Right now, to go to BUD/S, you actually try out. There's a draft. You have a contract, all of that. I joined the Navy and just kind of rolled the dice, and I actually took the test in boot camp for the BUD/S training, and only 2 of us out of 12 made it. And so from there, long story short, as I went over to BUD/S, basic underwater demolition SEAL training there in Coronado, and I went over halfway through the training, and believe it or not, I failed out for a math test. I had passed every physical evolution, all the runs, the swims. I was not the strongest runner. I was pretty good at swimming, and but failed out. Had to go out to the fleet, to the Navy for a year, the regular Navy. So out there, I was swabbing the decks and chipping paint, and pretty rough work. And that's where I really kind of got forged in the fire, so to speak, where I really decided deep down that that's what I wanted to do. And I've actually used this analogy before. It's almost like here it was. I was in spring training camp. I'd been drafted to the pros, and I actually got cut from the team. And so I had to go back home to minor leagues, or back home just in my backyard, and go back to training, and to come back and get drafted again and go back to train with the pros and go back to spring training. So I've used that analogy before, and it's probably the best way to explain. Went back, I became a better runner, and of course my math skills were brushed up, and I went on to complete the training and go on to serve at SEAL Team 4.
Very cool. That's good stuff. So you actually went on and then got through the program and served in the SEAL unit.
Yeah, so, the training itself for BUDS is 6 months long. I ended up spending about 10 and a half, 11 months there total. And then from there, I went on to SEAL Team 4. It's another 6 months before you get your trident, so you're really kind of you're a new guy when you get there. I guess like you would say a rookie in baseball.
Sure.
But but yeah, I was deployed there with SEAL Team 4. I was down in Puerto Rico for a long time and did a lot of jungle training. And I mean, it's just I don't know how to explain it. It's just it's, fun. It's a lot. I mean, I won't lie to you. It's fun, but it's hard, very hard work, very long hours. And a lot of times it's not nearly as glamorous as it looks. I mean, you're laying in out in the mud in a marsh somewhere, for whatever hours, or you're camped out, so to speak, waiting to go do a mission, go in and do a mission. So that was a great time in my life.
Very cool. Brad, I think you're, at least on my end, your connection's kind of breaking up a little bit. Can you still hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you great.
All right, I think we got you back.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe let's take it back to sort of what you're doing today then. What are you doing now what's Seal Grinder PT all about? What kind of training are you doing down there?
Yeah, so it's a Navy SEAL body weight exercises, and we just go through the full range of a really good warm-up. We do a lot of good shoulder exercises, mobility, hip mobility, just really stretching out the body real well, and then we go into good old-fashioned body weight exercises, push-ups, sit-ups, burpees. We'll run, we'll pull-ups, we'll do dips. And so it's a minimalist workout. It's the same workout that I did back in the SEAL training.
Okay.
And it's one that athletes can do wherever. People can do it at home. They can do it in their basement. Of course, do it out on a baseball field, football field. Take it anywhere.
Good stuff. So let's kind of take it back to the mental toughness thing, the mental game again. Because in baseball circles, that's something you hear coaches talk a lot about, and the importance of the mental game. And they say 90% of the game is mental, and guys talk all about mental toughness and how you have to be confident out there. So kind of in your experience, as someone who had to deal a lot with, knows a lot about mental toughness and had to go through a lot in your time with the SEALs, where do you think that comes from? What is mental toughness, and where does that mental toughness come from?
Well, I think that we all have it at some level inside of us. I think that it's something that we can cultivate over time based on experiences. When I work with my athletes, I like to slowly put them under more and more stressful physical situations, but also giving them a lot of the keys in order to deal with mental stress. And so it's definitely just like you can work out your muscles, build a bigger bicep or stronger bicep, build a stronger core. The same is it's something that can be exercised slowly over time to become stronger. What is it? I think Albert Einstein said that we only use a small percentage of our brain, and we have a lot more ability to work with and to build, just like our muscles.
Definitely. One of the things I came across in that, working on that article was the fact that the Navy SEALs are now using meditation as a sort of mental training exercise, and I think some of that has to do with some studies that have shown a link between meditation and improved ability to focus mentally. And I'm sure that's something that's kind of new, and things have probably changed over the years. But is that totally new, or has some form of mental training always been part of the SEAL program?
Well, yes. I mean, even back when I was in the SEAL training, which is 25 years ago, during BUDS we did a lot of yoga exercises, a lot of yoga stretching. And of course, yoga and meditation directly linked. It's kind of interesting that we didn't call it yoga then, but there's a lot of exercises that are directly out of our playbook that are on my website that have those are stretches, those are mobility exercises that go back thousands of years. But yes, and in talking too, not only with the yoga but the mental side. Over the last 2 decades, there's been an increasing awareness within the BUDS training camp to where they're bringing in more and more mental conditioning type of exercises. But even one of the ones that we teach, and you can see on my website, is just as basic as it sounds. A lot of people don't do it, and it's a tenet. It's a basic building block of yoga. It's just the ability to sit in stillness and control your breathing. And they say that the brain is like a puppy dog. It has to follow physically. It has to follow the breathing. And so, I mean, it's intuitive. Stressed out, a lot of times they're breathing very rapidly. Sure. They're breathing very in a shallow manner. The opposite of that is when someone's breathing very deep and very controlled, and that's some of the breathing techniques that we use and move it towards a more still type of situation. And then same thing, look at a baseball pitcher that's in control and up on the mound. They're not nervously looking around. They're not breathing erratically. Very controlled, very focused. They're limiting their eye movement, and they are making their mind still.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point, just about that. The focused and controlled breathing and how that can really relax you, and that's something guys can. It's interesting that you guys would do that and incorporate that in part of your training, because as a pitcher, that definitely can be huge for guys, being able to maintain that poise out on the mound. And that's definitely something you see with the top guys, is their ability to stay focused and calm and relaxed out there in pressure situations. So that's good stuff. One thing I wanted to talk a little bit about too was goal setting, because I'm sure that's something you had to deal with, and just having the goal of becoming a Navy SEAL and then reaching that goal. That's something I talk to my guys a lot about, is the importance of having goals and being motivated to see it through. Maybe what kind of advice would you give guys who are looking to get to that next level when it comes to setting goals and having that kind of goal-oriented mindset?
First things would be to just sit down and decide what motivates you and what your passion is. And so I think one of the easiest ways to follow to be able to follow a goal is that you have one that's in line with your values, that's in line with your passion. So for me, I was going all the way back to we talked about when I read that book, I was spellbound. I don't have a better way to describe that, but that I was so incredibly passionate about becoming a SEAL. There was no doubt in my mind that 100% that's what I wanted to do, versus say, whatever, becoming a doctor or a lawyer. Passion and drive is the number one thing in looking towards my goal, because then I know I'll put 100% of everything into it. And then from there, it's something that I wrote out, I put it on a piece of paper, and I put it in my wallet. And it was, every day I would look at that piece of paper. I would say that into my mind, what I do, I want to become a Navy SEAL. And it's interesting because I had a lot of people laugh at me. And, I mean, I might as well say, I'm going to become an astronaut, or I'm going to become a Hollywood big star, because, I mean, the importance of having that goal, and, again, if it's there, if it's in that spark is lit in your mind, your gut, that's what you want to do, whether it's become a Navy SEAL or go play, college baseball. Every day you're going to have that passion to get up out of it early and get out there and do the work, do the hard work, and have those goals. You'll set those goals. So.
That's great. Yeah. Great point. I think that's really interesting that you actually wrote it down too and carried it with you, because I mean that's the number one thing is probably, like you said, just having that. The goal has got to be motivating. So that's key, and I think that's great that you talked about that, just how passionate you were about it, because that's what's going to drive you and get you through those tough times. And then the fact that you wrote it down, that kind of crystallizes it. So that's interesting that that's what you did, and that worked for you, because that's something I've always told guys to do too. So that's good stuff. Maybe just talk a little bit about teamwork, because I know as a pitcher you're out there on the mound, you're kind of out there alone a little bit, but you're really part of a team, and you're all working together towards a common goal. And I'm sure that was a big part of being going through that training and being part of the Navy SEAL unit was teamwork. So maybe share any lessons you might have about teamwork from your time with the SEALs.
Yeah, so whenever you hear those words, it's always called the SEAL teams. It's not called the SEAL, individuals. SEALs don't operate as a one-man show. It's always, at least in groups of two, you always have someone backing you up. And so that's something that's drilled all the way from day one, is that you're divided up into boat crews. I was one of the short guys, so I was in what's called the Smurfs. We were the Smurf boat crew. And, it's everything you do is in a team aspect. Even when you eat, you all eat at the same table together. And so, moving all the way through towards the SEAL teams, as you can imagine, is, when you go out on these operations, you got, say, everyone has a different job, but at the same time, everyone knows the other man's job, so that they can be able to operate back and forth. So, like, say, my job was the radio, working the radio as a radioman, but other guys in my team knew how to operate the radio too, because you don't know if one man's going to go down. You've got to be able to jump up and do your part and complete the team mission. And so in a way, I see that very similar to baseball, in that, you may have a guy that, either is injured there on the field that day, or he may come, he may just come to the game. He may be sick or what have you, and that you're going to have to rotate the guys out, and maybe somebody else plays that position,
sure,
or knows how to jump right in, and
or even just a reliever coming in to relieve the starting pitcher. He's got to come in and kind of pick his teammate up if he had a rough outing, come in there and shut the door. So it's definitely a good analogy. So sorry about that. You just had a little problem with the connection, but we're kind of finishing up the talk there about teamwork and sort of relating your time there with the SEALs with some of the aspects of baseball and picking up your teammates and that kind of thing. So I think that's definitely an important lesson for guys. So I appreciate you sharing that for sure.
Yeah.
So Brad, I mean, this has been awesome. I really appreciate you taking the time. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I link up all of the details for guys to get in touch with you below this interview on the website. But just before we wrap up, maybe tell guys where they can go to learn more about you and Seal Grinder PT and some of the programs you're doing there.
Yeah, you go to sealgrinderpt.com. We have daily workouts where you can, every day the workouts change. There's video on the main page there that kind of tells you how to do the workouts. And so I travel around the country. I have I was in Pennsylvania last weekend. I'll be in Southern California tomorrow, and so we have training sessions with. I do a lot of work with SealFit, Sealfit.com.
Okay.
And but it's just just in general, like I said, it's Navy SEAL body weight workouts. You can do it anywhere, and we have a lot of stretching, mobility stuff that I know would be very helpful to baseball and athletes of all ages.
Absolutely, great, excellent, Brad. I really appreciate it. Again, it's been an honor. So thanks so much for taking the time to be with us tonight.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Phil. I greatly appreciate it.
You got it, Brad. All right, take care. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, man.